Girl, tonight we're gonna make love. You know how I know? Because it's Wednesday. And Wednesday night is the night that we usually make love. Monday night is my night to cook. Tuesday night we go and visit your mother. But Wednesday we make sweet weekly love. It's when everything is just right. There's nothing good on TV. You haven't had your after-work social sports team practice, so you're not too tired. Oh, it's all on. You lean in and whisper something sexy in my ear like, I might go to bed now, I've got work in the morning. I know what you're trying to say, girl. You're trying to say, oh yeah, it's business time. It's business time. It's business. It's business time. I know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say it's time for business. It's business time. Ooh, it's business. It's business time. Oh, yeah. Then went in the bathroom, brushing our teeth. That's all part of the foreplay. I love foreplay. A shaka shaka, a shaka shaka, a shaka shaka. Ow, ow, ow. And you sort out the recycling. That isn't part of the foreplay process, but it is still very important. Next thing you know, we're in the bedroom. You're wearing that baggy old ugly t-shirt you got from your work several years ago. You know the one, baby, with the curry stain. I remove my clothes very, very clumsily, tripping sensuously over my pants. Now I'm naked, except for my socks, and you know when I'm down to just my socks, what time it is. It's business. It's business time. You know when I'm down to my socks, it's time for business. That's why they call business socks. Ooh. It's business. It's business time. Yeah. Make a love. Make a love for. Make a love for two. Make a love for 2 minutes. When it's with me, girl, you only need 2 minutes. Because I'm so intense. You whisper something sexy like, is that it? I know what you're trying to say, girl. You're trying to say, oh, yeah, that's it. And you tell me you want some more. Well, I'm not surprised. But I'm quite sleepy. It's business. It's business time. Business hours are over, baby. It's business.
Hey, good morning, everybody. How are we doing today? It is Wednesday. It is the day that me and Jeffrey usually make love, and we are here and ready to talk a little bit of sports. Jeffrey, you're looking good. You got a nice glow about you today. I know that you just woke up, but man, it must be rough to wake up, just roll out of bed and look this beautiful in the mornings.
Well, so I was up at 6 with the baby, and then I got my little nap in from 9 to 10:30 or whatever. So, here we are. I played golf yesterday as well with some friends. So with Ian and my buddy Corey, we went to Forest Lake, which was cool. I grew up playing that golf course in high school. So the front 9 was butter, 38, firing, never broken 80. I'm like, here we go. How do I mess this up? And then, of course, shoot 47 on the back for a clean 85. And the funniest part is that there's 3 of us. We had a spot for Jeremy. We were hoping Jeremy could get off of work, so we go celebrate. Jeremy's birthday is tomorrow. So we are going to be, probably out and about. Hopefully I can get cut today and get out there and play some golf with him. We'll see what happens. But we end up getting so Jeremy didn't make it. So we're on the
Wait a
first
minute,
team.
I'm sorry. You said today's Jeremy's birthday? I thought I saw
Tomorrow.
him in the group. Okay, tomorrow. Okay. I was gonna say
Yes.
I thought okay.
So
Happy birthday, Jeremy.
Yes. So we anyway, he was gonna be our fourth. He ends up not being able to make it. The fourth, they pair up with us. The guy rolls up onto the course at the first hole. He's wearing a t-shirt and basketball shorts and shoes, regular Skechers. And he walks up and goes, "You guys gonna have to bear with me. I never really played golf before." And we're like, "Okay." And we always say there's a few rules in golf, and it's like, if you're bad, play fast. If you're good, play fast. It doesn't matter. Just please play fast. We were very patient, but he had no idea any etiquette or rules or whatsoever with golf, to the point where Ian is getting so frustrated at this point. And we're standing on the back nine, and the guy comes over to talk to me because I'm a nice guy. I'm going to talk to you no matter what, and ends up kicking Ian's ball from where it was located at, and never even noticed. So just a good old boy, former box truck worker, had about 4 or 5 in him, with more to come, I'm sure, when he got home to his wife. So it was a funny interaction.
That's an interesting pairing, as
Yeah.
golf, I guess, becomes more prevalent, you're going to get a little bit more of that. I was always under the assumption I didn't want to go out there and embarrass myself till I knew how to play. So, like, I
didn't
just
care.
Yeah, I just kind of, dug into the range a little bit before, setting out and especially getting paired with somebody. That's fucking nuts. Might want to hit the old par 3 course. But I guess, he's out there getting it done. So I guess, kudos to everybody. And kudos to, I guess, Ian for holding his cool, because I can only imagine the things that were going through his head the entire round.
And we had some green beans that we were hanging out with. So, we were very mellow.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of some golf, the Masters has just finished, and what a finish it was. It was great to see Tiger and Phil. However, it was pretty painful to watch Tiger on Saturday, Sunday.
Physically?
Just the whole thing.
Yeah.
Just the whole thing. I mean, 82 on a Saturday. I know he came out of it and he said, that was still a success. And I know that there's going to be some movements, and, watching him try to walk on that peg leg, it looks like he has a wooden leg. I mean, he doesn't really bend it. I don't know if you saw him like trying to bend over to pick up tees and stuff. It's obviously not good, but the shots are still there. So there gives a hope. But I got to ask at this point, which I know we didn't talk about this on the pre-show, but is this hurting his legacy? Because when we look at Tiger, right, we think of the dominant Tiger. We think of the Tiger that, put fear in every other golfer that he had. And I can't remember who it was a couple years ago, or if it was even a troll account, but he's like, nobody fears Tiger anymore, which is obviously true, though. Why would you fear him? I don't know. It's great to see that he made the cut, broke the record for most consecutive cuts. But I mean, is that where we're at in Tiger's career?
And listen, I'll say this. People say nobody fears Tiger. Okay, well, last time Tiger was in contention at the Masters, ended up winning the Masters. Everybody who he was paired with and around literally shit the bed. So
right, but that was like 5 years ago, right?
It was 2019, right? So yeah, it was before the last accident. But at the same time, like, he wasn't forcing Brooks Koepka, Francisco Molinari, and Tony Finau to hit the ball in the water on hole 12. Like that he didn't do that. I mean, the crowds, the roar, everything kind of goes hand in hand. Listen, I think Tiger thinks it's a success just from the fact that the Masters is such a tough tournament to walk. People don't realize how much up and down and everything that there really is into it. Me and Jeremy were talking about it. What's the second greatest a course in terms of that they play up in the entire year that's tougher to walk than the Masters? And he was saying it's like some course in Oahu, in Hawaii, that they play that has but there's a lot of up and down. It's a tough course to walk. So the fact that he got through 4 rounds and he got through it with a smile on his face, I think for him, he felt like it was a success no matter what. We can also take the fact that he was only one over. At one point, he was one under, right? Going into the second round, he's only a few shots back. You know, if he just cleans that up, and obviously it was a tough day on, what was that? Was it Friday?
Saturday
or Saturday for
Saturday was the
everybody.
82.
It was which
kind of which seemed a little weird
they had
to
the
me
20-mile-an-hour winds, that they had that were later in that day as well too, that were crazy. And
but I thought that was more of like Thursday, Friday. When I watched the weather Thursday,
that was Friday,
it looked brutal. But
Friday
Saturday looked relatively calm to me. That's why I was really surprised the fact of that score, to be perfectly honest with you. But I think fatigue did start to I think he had an early tee time as well. I think probably one of the best parts out there was watching him and Charlie on the range and Charlie giving him tips, man.
Great.
Bro, that's pretty cool, dude, to be like, your kids out there and be like, hey, Dad, no, you're doing this wrong. Like you're arguably, and this was a debate that I saw go wild on Twitter, by the way. Or no, it was Twitter. It was actually in a sports cards group about who is the GOAT of golf, because somebody posted a Jack Nicklaus and said, the GOAT. And if we're going by majors, it's still Jack Nicklaus. But the impact of the game, I think you have
Tiger,
to
hands down. Shout out to Chris Shea. I appreciate the text that I just got from you saying Kapalua is the course that I'm thinking of, not on Oahu. So Kapalua.
That was also in the private chat from the 3-time.
Yeah, I see that. And I also have a private text message as well too from the Hawaiian boy himself over there, Mr. Chris Shea. But Kapalua, Hawaii.
Appreciate you joining the show, Chris. Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate you listening. Augusta, number 2 for hardest walk, and then Riviera, they play the Century TOC out there, I believe, is number 3. So
can I post a stupid question then?
Go ahead.
As somebody that played tournament golf and walked a lot of courses.
Yeah, I was saying this to Ian. I go, but let me tell you something. Like, I haven't played this course in 21 years that we played yesterday, but riding in a cart compared to me walking it is completely freaking different. Like,
well, I'm just saying, like, you're not carrying your bag.
No.
You're just literally walking.
But you are walking.
I mean, come on.
You are walking.
I understand that there is some energy needed to walk a golf course.
For sure.
But it's not like you're the caddy carrying a 100-pound bag with all of your snacks and your waters and your balls and your towels and your rain suit, your umbrellas, your iron covers for all you little guys out there that like to have your iron covers so they don't clang.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you saw this, but so speaking of caddies, right? And you look at what guys have done going into Augusta, and this is a story that I sent out that I thought was kind of cool, was that Tommy Fleetwood switched his caddy for the week and took a local caddy who works at the course and put him on his bag. And I think the caddy ended up making like almost 100K or something like that off of it. But it's a very smart thing to do because you're bringing in somebody with the local knowledge of where you need to miss it, what this ball is going to do, where you can and cannot hit the ball. I thought it was a brilliant move by Tommy Fleetwood, a guy who's never really played Augusta very well, comes in, ends up getting top 5 or 6 or something like that.
Put it on Sunday.
In there. And, so I thought that was very interesting as well, too. So shout out to the caddy. There was a local guy there that ended up making it happen. But, yeah, I mean, Scotty Scheffler, we talk about it all the time on Gap Wedge Wednesday. Obviously, you can't bet him, right? He's 3-1 to start a tournament. You don't want to, and you can't bet him, especially with the question mark of, is he going to get a phone call that his wife's going to labor and is he going to leave? So if you did bet him and you won, congratulations to you guys. I know you said you saw a number there in the second round that was right around 1,600 or something like that. That was available.
That was a bear. So let's get into that.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I thought you were talking about Scotty because literally,
I will say this.
You said that, and our ears, like, we went nuts. Like, me and Ian, and where did he get this line? Yada yada yada. Like freaking out. But okay, it was Ludwig that we were.
So after the second round, it was actually, I have it right here. Actually, Scotty Scheffler's odds, though, and this is what I've also have learned a little bit in following the golf. It's not necessarily the best thing to take golf pre-tournament because those odds fluctuate. And there was a point in time where I think it was even round 4 where Scotty Scheffler was plus 300. So after the second round, these are some of the significant ones. Scotty Scheffler was minus 120. That's a pretty good bet. Max Homa plus 500, and Ludwig Eberg was plus 1,600. Tommy Fleetwood plus 3,500. Cam Young plus 45. Like there was a lot of good numbers in there after the second round.
Morikawa was probably there as well too.
And when I looked at it, Aberg was only 2 or 3 shots back.
Yeah,
for plus 1,600. I mean, that was a great one. But yeah, so
I was definitely. It was Saturday or like something like that. Somebody reached out to me and they were like, "Oh, you know, who do you think you should take like longer odds?" And I'm like, Cameron Young and Xander Schauffele. They're both like 4 back right now, and both of them, or I think that maybe they were 6 back, but I'm like, both of them have a chance to go 3 or 4 under both days and really make it, you know, a tournament. Obviously, that doesn't come to fruition, so it is what it is. But
it's definitely a yo-yo. And like I said, after I think Scotty Scheffler, I do believe made the bogey. I think on 7 when he was 6 under and it was tied, he was plus 300 at some point. It could actually have been Saturday. I don't know. But my point is, especially to your point, which somebody we think is going to come through at some point or still holds the best odds to hold it together. Because let's be honest, when we go through this, that's what it was, is who held it together. Scotty Scheffler held it together. You know, he had the double bogey. He comes back on 13 or whatever it is, makes the eagle, puts you right back into it. I'll tell you, this was the most I've watched golf. I always watch the Masters. I try to watch it from tee to green, from the first start to the end. It's one of my favorite tournaments. I've been blessed to be able to walk the grounds and walk all over that course. It always holds something special to me, but I saw some absolutely amazing golf out of some of these people. Now, let's start with Scotty Scheffler. To me, you know, I still don't understand how the hell he shoots what he shoots, because it looks to me like he's just on rails the entire time. He has no balance control. He's just literally just swinging, and all of a sudden you see him, he's like on his left, like the outside heel. Like when he, and there's a point in time when you watch his swing in slow motion, he's literally off the ground when he hits the ball. Yeah, literally off the ground. But he comes through. I tell you, I was most impressed with the Ludwig Oberg, and I don't even know if I'm saying it right. But
you're closer than most people. Most people say Aberg.
Well, that's how I started, but the announcer's called the Oberg, so that's why I was like,
yeah,
oh, okay,
it's
okay.
Like a bear.
I'll tell you, what was it? It was 14, I think.
Oberg,
yeah. I think it was 14 when he dropped one and just beautifully came back. He had like probably like a 4 or 5 footer, drills it, right? And at that point in time, that would closed it to 2 shots. And I'm like, okay, this dude still has a shot. And then Scotty Scheffler comes in and about holds it on the same one. That's right. That's when I slammed the door. 3-shot lead. Ain't no way this is happening. It was definitely a yo-yo week. It was a yo-yo week. We saw some good things. To your point, Tommy Fleetwood coming back and actually tied for 3rd, which was with Max Homa, who, again, now watching, and you could probably explain this a little bit more, watching Max Homa, right? Max Homa seems to be like a guy that plays to not make mistakes. If he's down by a couple, if somebody's playing really, really well, it seems to me like he's not catching them. Like, it's not like we talk about like Paolo Bonchero, right? Like when it's time to score, the ball's in your hand. I need you to score. I just don't see, like, it seems to me like he plays pretty passive. Like, you know, he takes his opportunities whenever he has them. Other than that, he's playing to the safe one, which obviously played out very, very well for him this week. A little bit of falter there towards the end, hits one. And I do believe, did he hit one? No, Ludwig hit one in the water. 12. Your unlucky bounce.
I thought it was a terrible bounce. You didn't think it was a terrible bounce?
He hit on the downslope. Like he hit it long.
Yeah, which I think is unlucky. I think it's unlucky for it.
We'll just go hit it there.
Downslope in the back of the green when the rest of it is raised up behind it. Yeah, like I'm like, oh,
I mean, that was a huge turn in this thing, because he was sitting at 7 under going into that, 1 shot behind Scotty. Double bogeys it.
Like the bunker's there. You know what I mean? Like the bunker's right there on the right. But it just so happened to hit the one spot on the downslope where it kicks directly into the bushes, and you're screwed.
Well, that's why I always, you know, hole 12, and it's easy for me to say this because I don't play it, but hole 12 to me is like, you try to play so safe that you end up screwing yourself, right? Because
I understand their approach every single time.
But he just wanted to hit that one, that big sweet spot on the left and look for a 2-putt. He wasn't trying to birdie. And he just got a little too much club. Got a little too
155 yards, right? Like you literally go out there,
but the
draw 9-iron from the right side of the green, let it feed in, and just 2-putt and get out of there.
Yeah, I think the problem was the wind, because there was numerous people that did the exact same thing. That, there was probably a little slipstream or, gust from the gods, as Old Tin Cup would say, that cost him. But shout out to Scotty Scheffler for knocking it down. It was a great, great tournament. I think if I had to pick one golfer that I was just completely disappointed with, that looked in absolute shambles, like he had no game whatsoever, that would be one Bryson DeChambeau. He looked freaking terrible. The putter, to me, watching him putt, whatever that stance and whatever he's doing with the long and his arm, it looks so goofy. It looks to me like he's swinging a club when he's putting.
He had a good tournament.
If you ask him today, how do you feel about your tournament? I guarantee it, he's going to say, I'm very upset. He left so many shots on the table. And with his length and to not be able to capitalize on the par fives, nah, bro.
I had this question, and I got into a big argument with our local golf experts about this. I said that if you give me 6,300 yards at Augusta, right? I'm not paying 7,600. If I'm playing for 6,300 yards, I can break 100 at Augusta.
No, not even close. You'd be lucky to break 150. And I say that respectfully.
Zero. There's no shot that I'm not breaking 100 there.
I would bet my entire life net worth on it. Easily.
I have the opinion that if I was just trying to break 100, if my only goal was to try to break 100, that I could play to enough safe spots, because that yardage is fine for me. I can hit.
But you don't know how. First of all, you don't know how that
irons.
You don't know how that yardage plays out for you, to be perfectly honest with you.
Because there's sense?
I'm going to tell you, because there's bends that you have to hit to a certain area, which at a certain yardage. That's why, honestly, at 7,600, I would rather play at 7,600 than at 60 whatever, because that takes the driver out of my hands. That takes too much stuff out of my hands the way that I play it. Biggest thing isn't necessarily. Listen to me. Let me finish. My biggest thing isn't necessarily you getting to the green. My concern is you putting. And let me tell you why. Because you can easily 4-whack every single one of those greens.
Okay. But if I'm on in 2, that's double. Okay.
So you're going to hit every green in regulation and 4-putt. We're a double bogey for a plus 36, which is, guess what? Over 100.
Yeah, but I won't double bogey every hole.
And nor will you hit every green in every regulation. And how many are you going to put in the water on 12? What about 16?
12? 12. What yardage do you think 12 is going to play at from the tees that we're playing from?
The exact same thing.
No, it won't. It's not
100 yards.
They play 157 from there. If I'm playing I'm playing it from 120.
I'll give you from 100.
That's a pitching wedge. That's a pitching wedge, a soft pitching wedge.
And when it goes in the bunker, how many times is it going to take you to get out?
Oh, come on, man. My sand game's fine. Now, you talk about putting if you'd like. All right, that would be a little bit of an issue.
Let's just say this. Let's say you hit 50% of the greens. 50%. All right. So I'm giving you 9, right? 9.
Yeah.
All right. I'll give you another 50% that says that you 2-putt. So I'm giving you 4.5 pars. Okay. So I'm going to give you 4 pars.
That's all I need.
You're telling me that you're not making any doubles, triples, quads?
The doubles to break 100 are okay. The triples are the problem. If you're making 4.5 pars.
If anybody out there has a lead on Augusta, please let's make this happen. Because
I'm telling you, I could break 100 at Augusta. Larry David, Ian was telling this story the other day. He's like, Larry David said he went and he played Augusta, right? And he went out and he shot 95. He lost 3 balls, whatever. He said he didn't think it was crazy, crazy tough. Like they play right now, right? But he said he went out, but he said like he walked into the clubhouse after and it was just so stuffy and you couldn't talk loud and everybody was very quiet. You could hear every single knife hitting every single plate. And he's just like, this shit sucks, dude. It's not for me. I'm out of here, bro.
That is the last remnant of old money, of an old money club, old money society. If you haven't watched The Gilded Age on Max, it's a very good show talking about how New York was formed in old money, new money. So that's kind of where I'm getting that from. But yeah, to recap the Masters, what a great tournament. Jeff is not breaking 100.
I'm breaking 100.
Ludwig Oberg That is a name to watch, boys. I'll tell you that right now. He was laughing the whole time. Didn't seem to the moment did not get the best of him. He just hit what he hit one bad shot. One bad shot on 11. He hit it in the water on that
6
approach.
in the world right now. So I mean, he's a great player.
Young
Just
kid.
Anyway.
Yep. Well, let's move it on to the NBA playoffs. Finally, we can talk about NBA basketball because this is the time that the players decide, hey, you know what? Let's actually play. And we saw a couple playing games last night. I was very, very curious as to your opinion on this because when I saw the line for last night's game between the Los Angeles Lakers and the New Orleans Pelicans, and I saw that the Pelicans were favored by 1.5, I was trying to figure out what the hell I was missing. I didn't understand it. I mean, we really thought the Pelicans were going to beat the Lakers, and I was surprised of how many people were jumping on it. Now, I understand that Zion's back, and I will say this. I watched him play, and to what we talk about LeBron James being able to drive down the lane and do whatever he wants, ain't nobody getting in front of Zion Williamson. I watched him drive the lane, and I watched the Lakers literally part the Red Sea because they wanted no part of that freight train. So it's good to see him back. I know he tweaked this a little bit at the end.
Yeah, he got hurt.
Yeah, of course. Well, also, when did it become just like common for NBA players to wear low cut, like low profile sneakers?
Kobe.
Like, I mean, what are we doing here, guys?
Kobe Bryant.
And if you look at Steph Curry, I saw this when he was playing. He wears low cut, but he wears like a full ankle brace on both of his ankles.
Yeah,
guys, like we could just wear a high top shoe.
We could just say this too. Steph played one of the worst games I've seen him play last night.
We're gonna get into that one first. First of all, Lakers Pelicans. What were your thoughts on it? I thought that LeBron James did enough. I think he almost had a triple double. Last time I saw it, I think he had like 20 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists. He didn't have to do a whole lot. Anthony Davis stepped up, thank goodness. I saw D'Angelo Russell just absolutely draining threes from all over the place.
He's been the difference, honestly, for the Lakers in the second half of the season. He's been, and him and Dinwiddie's provided a little bit, not a crazy amount. Austin Reeves still makes those little, inspired plays that he has as well too. Is the token Caucasian on the team running around there? Listen, D'Angelo continues to shoot like that. Obviously, he gets into it with Jose Alvarado. They end up with a little back and forth, both getting a double tech. D'Angelo kept talking shit the entire rest of the game. Didn't matter. He was knocking down threes he could. He's been the difference, honestly. And yeah, if you're going to get LeBron a shooter like that, standing in the corner when they're able to move the ball like they do, and LeBron being as smart as he is, he was. I didn't have any doubt in my mind that the Lakers were winning. People were saying that the Lakers were going to lose that game because they wanted to avoid Denver round one, and I couldn't think that that's farther from the truth personally. I don't think
that would explain it.
Playing Denver, but
well, yeah. So the Lakers are heading to Denver, which is going to be a great matchup in the second round.
Yeah.
So then the Pelicans now go to the Sacramento Kings, who beat the Golden State Warriors last night. To your points,
yes.
I watched like through the third quarter. Steph just didn't look good. Kind of what I saw from Steph is, Steph has carried that team the entire year. Draymond being Draymond, missing all of the games that he missed. Clay's been hit and miss. Steph has just pretty much carried the load off of the Golden State Warriors, and I think we saw a little bit of that exhaustion in this game. But we also talked about when we talked the playoffs, we talked about how good the Sacramento Kings team was and how undervalued that we thought that they were going into the playoffs. And they showed us why. They came out and they looked great, man. The cohesiveness that I saw between the Kings and the players, the coach, everybody, it looked tight, man. It looked great. I think this is going to be a very interesting game now between the Pelicans and the Kings to see who's going to play the Thunder. I think obviously all eyes are on Zion Williamson here. Is he going to be completely healthy by the time this game comes around? I don't know. I guess we'll find out later today exactly to the extent of it. But yeah, the Kings are looking really, really good. And of course, then you get the number 1 seed, the Oklahoma City Thunder, which is anybody like, are we scared of the Thunder? I know that the West is kind of open, right? All the teams were kind of there. And to my point, what I said earlier, I really don't think that any of them give a shit about seeding because there's no first round bye, right?
I don't think any of them are like intimidating.
No.
right? Like
I mean, I don't think anybody
don't
wants to go up against the Nuggets. Let's say that between Jamal
Okay.
Murray, Jokic, who should be the 4-time MVP right now. They stole it from him last year. He's still got the same numbers this year, so we'll see what happens this year. I would say the Nuggets probably, right? I mean, back to champions. Obviously they look good. The Suns, I think nobody cares about them, right? Because after last year, the faltering. To your point, I don't know. So we'll see.
Yeah, this was probably one of the most frustrating things or games that I had, for the simple fact that me and Ian had a 16 parlay last night. Okay. And one was the Lakers. We also had the Orioles, the Braves, the Cardinals, and then we had the Washington Capitals to win as well, which, by the way, hockey playoffs about to start. We're about to start that as well, too. Did you see
how that game ended?
Yeah. Did you see what they did? Tortorella pulls the goalie with 3.5 minutes, not knowing that they were going to be eliminated anyway because Detroit went to extra time, overtime, or whatever, and then the Capitals end up scoring and knocking them out of the playoffs. Anyway, pure poetic justice. But then we have Sacramento Kings money line. Or I'm sorry, Golden State Warriors money line to finish the 16 parlay that we had, and we never had a chance to hedge, and it was absolutely
early cash out.
Absolutely pathetic. Never even had an option. For the simple fact that by the time the Cardinals game ended, this game was over. It was tough to watch. There was a time when Golden State came back and made a little run, but they just didn't get the ball to Steph in proper situations. Golden State needs to tear the entire thing down. The bench for the Sacramento Kings last night, you know how many points they scored total?
10.
14.
Ooh,
right? They got dogged by Keegan Murray, who goes off for 32 points. Keon Ellis, who goes off for 15. Now, let's look at the vets that we have for the Golden State Warriors, and they're plus minus on the floor. Draymond Green, minus 22. Andrew Wiggins, minus 25. Steph Curry, minus 21. Klay Thompson, minus 12, which is amazing considering Klay Thompson goes 0 of 10 from the field, goes 0 of 6 from the three-point line, does collect 5 defensive rebounds. Congratulations to you. Steph turns the ball over 6 times. You got Kuminga at minus 22 as well. Chris Paul minus 15, puts up 3 points total in the entire game. Between Draymond, Chris Paul, and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, combined, they put up 27 points. That is absolutely egregious.
I agree with you.
Who put this team together needs to be fired. It's terrible. Steph Curry, come on down to beautiful, sunny Orlando, Florida. It'll be a pleasure to have you play on the Orlando Magic. We have a great young team around you. You can continue to pursue titles.
Do you really think Steph Curry would leave Golden State?
No.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I just wanted exactly where your mind was going with that one. Yeah. My thoughts on Draymond Green is he should be out of the league. Go pursue your podcast, do whatever else you're doing. I mean, he did. Give me an instance where he actually helped that team this year.
He's a fit somewhere. He is.
No. He's like the modern day Dennis Rodman.
I think he'd be great.
Except for Dennis Rodman was better, in my opinion.
He'd be great on the Lakers.
Could you see him and LeBron together?
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know. So New Orleans up next with the Sacramento Kings. We'll see who goes on that. We're moving on to the Eastern Conference tonight.
I'll be taking, no matter what happens with Zion, I will be taking the New Orleans Pelicans for the simple fact that the Kings have zero bench. They just lost Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter. It was another reason why we faded them last night, is because they don't have anybody on their bench to score. Hence, they didn't have anybody on their bench score. It was all the starters. They had to shoot out of their absolute minds. What up, Buff? They had to shoot out of their absolute minds. It kind of was what it was. I think let me see. Sabonis 7 of 14, Barnes 5 of 11, Keegan Murray 10 of 20, Fox 11 of 25, Ellis 5 of 8. They shot very well. I'll just say that for their starters. So
what's up, Buff? Hope you stick around, buddy, because I got something to talk about your fantasy league.
Oh.
Anyway, so tonight we start off with the 76ers Miami Heat, and this is going to be a great game in my opinion. I'm really looking forward to this game. I really, really am. I think that are the 76ers clicking? I haven't really watched them at the end. I know Embiid is back. How many games has he had back? Is he on any type of minutes restrictions or anything of this nature, or are we
No,
full board?
He actually tweaked his knee against the Magic a couple nights ago, but came right back in the game.
Okay.
So it was very encouraging to see. He kind of landed wrong. I tell you what, the Sixers are a problem.
Yeah.
They are a problem. The way that they've constructed their roster reminds me a lot of the Orlando Magic back in the Dwight Howard days, which is basically you have 4 shooters around 1 big and just kind of play off of it. The thing with Embiid, though, is Embiid can stretch the floor too.
Yeah.
So, and he like I said, the only problem I have with Embiid is that he falls like a guard, and a guy that big that falls that many times over and over again when he's just touched or flailing in the air, whatever. I think it takes a lot on your body in terms of the wear and tear. So, but they added Buddy Hield. I mean, they have shooters everywhere along the court. So,
I'll tell you, I was watching the game last night, right? And I can't remember who I was watching, but the guy was like guarding him, right? And he spins to go around him. And as he spins, all of the sweat from his face, his hair, it's like a mop. And it shoots just all over the guy's face in front. And I'm like, all I'm thinking about is Along Came Polly vibes, right? When he's out there playing, and the guy's like, and it's like, oh my God, dude. Ugh, it's so nasty. But to your point, the 76ers are a problem. I look for them to take care of the Miami Heat today. I look for the Bulls to take care of the Atlanta Hawks tonight. Then I look for Miami to take care of the Chicago Bulls, and the 76ers and the Miami Heat taking those last 2 spots. That would put us right back at the Eastern Conference Finals last year with the Boston Celtics versus the Miami Heat, which I think is going to be another great series. I hope that the Heat don't play the Celtics, because then that'll probably require me going to Miami for once again another game. So hopefully I'm wrong on that, and the Heat can pull that off, so they play the Knicks, and I don't have to worry about that. But how do you see the last playing games coming out of the Eastern Conference tournament?
Yeah, same way. I mean, I don't know. I think that the Sixers will beat the Heat tonight. I just think that they have too good at shooting, and they're really well coached too with Nurse Nurse. And listen, the Bulls and Hawks, the Hawks shouldn't be in this situation. I don't know if the Bulls should, but whatever. Neither here nor there.
They're both terrible.
Chicago beats Atlanta. Is it 9:30 tip? I for some reason I saw 10 o'clock.
I think it's 10. No, I think you might be right. 9:30.
Hopefully it's nothing.
9:30 tip.
Okay.
Bulls favored by 3.5, and then the 76ers favored by 5.5.
Yeah, I'll probably just take both money lines on Philly and Chicago and call it a day, honestly. And then you'll have Chicago playing Miami. That'll be a rematch of what I thought would happen last year. Miami probably wins that game against Chicago. Miami goes on to play Boston in the first series and probably gets swept in the first series by Boston.
I don't think so, man. I don't know what it is about that Celtics Miami matchup. They just, we talked about Paolo Banchero and his ability to step up or not. This is Jason Tatum's time. If the Celtics do not win this chip, I think it affects his legacy. I really do. If we're talking about him, go ahead.
You just got to talk about loaded teams from top to bottom. I mean, from the fact of going out and getting a guy like Porzingis, who's able to stretch the floor, who kind of does it all, who's played really well this year, and they saw the writing on the wall in Washington, which is even more impressive if you watch a guy playing for the Wizards and you can say that guy still has it and gets it. Then you add a Drew Holiday, you still have Derek White out there to go along with your two-headed monster and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. I agree that this is the Celtics East to lose. This is the Celtics NBA championship to lose, in my opinion, and I don't see anybody stopping them.
The only move that I didn't really like is I didn't like when they got rid of Marcus Smart, because he was just that scrappy guy that was always in there causing problems. The Draymond Green, if you will, of the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, but they have Drew Holiday, who plays just as good defense and doesn't have the antics.
Yeah.
So, for me, that's tough.
All right, so let's look at this here. So the rest of these okay, so the rest of these start on the 21st, which is
You
Sunday.
could probably put off the playoff challenge if you want. If you want to just put the thing on. I don't know if you have it pulled up.
I can put it over here. Yeah. Absolutely. Anything for you, Jeff.
That way we can kind of show them what we're talking about. So there's a playoff challenge on ESPN as well too. Basically like a bracket breakdown that you can do. You just hop on there and fill out who you think is going to win, and you have a chance to win like $1 million if you win. So do it for free. Who cares?
Do it for the gram, baby. Do it for the gram. And while I'm loading this, for those of you that were tuning into the Friday F1 Friday, we did have some technical difficulties last night. Or last Friday, and unfortunately, we were not able to.
Are we back this week or what?
We should be back this week. We were actually ready to go. It was actually going to be a really funny episode because I do believe we were going like at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, it was 11 o'clock at night. It was scheduled for, and I was like looking at my phone sideways, like.
Yeah, and so we were supposed to go at like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. So
okay.
I planned out my intake, and let's just say that it was well beyond the intake, and it was going to be an extremely entertaining show. So we'll look to get back to that on Friday. So here we go. It does look a little fuzzy. So right here, so we're gonna have the Thunder versus the Kings or the Pelicans.
Yes.
Jeff thinks the Pelicans are gonna make it. I'm saying the Kings, man. I just really like the scrappy Kings there. So with that being
either
said,
way, it's a bad matchup for either team against the Thunder. So
correct.
I would
have the Thunder moving on.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like the Mavericks to beat the Clippers here as well. I just think that, listen, Kawhi hasn't played in a while. He's got a knee injury. They said he's going to return to a quarter of a practice and see how he feels before the series starts. There's just a lot going on. James Harden in the playoffs hasn't really performed lately. Give me Luka. Give me the best player in the series and Luka Doncic. And Kyrie Irving has been a great Batman to him as well, too. So if you're going to ask me between those two teams, I think the PJ Washington Jr. trade has worked out really well for them as well. Yeah, I like the Mavericks in that series.
Carito, we'll get to that question as soon as we get done with this bracket, my man. So with that being said, I mean, we talked about, or not we, but I mean, was it last year that we were talking about after the Kyrie Irving to the Dallas, like we're blowing it all up. This isn't working. These guys can't play together. I mean,
they figured it out.
Yeah. Imagine that, right? Imagine that. The Clippers to me are an interesting team.
Right.
It's just I think that the Clippers have a deeper talent roster, but
sure.
for some reason they just don't perform.
Yeah.
Right. And so with that being said, I'm going with the token Dallas Mavericks as well. Give me the token.
Baby. Yeah. This is where I get iffy here is the bottom of this bracket. I don't know. Like this is like a pure coin flip to me.
I think, based off what we saw of last year's the Suns team, I think that this Phoenix Suns team is going to come out with a little bit more aggression, a little bit more drive, because let's be honest, they got embarrassed last year. I mean, for what after the trades that they made, they got embarrassed. They were expected to go all the way to the finals, and they didn't even come close. I do think that they're going to come out. Now, you talk about the Minnesota, Ant-Man's been an absolute terror. No Ja, right? There's still no Ja, right?
No, Ja's done.
Yeah, he's done.
And Ja's on the
yeah, I think it's going to be a great series, though. Give me I'm taking the Suns in 6 on this one.
I want to. Listen, I said this. I think Anthony Edwards is the best player in the NBA right now. The way that he's rolling, they're going to get Karl Anthony Towns back. How does that work back in? Is this the series that you really want those two bigs out there too? And in terms of Gobert and Towns, because the way that Phoenix can spread you out, the matchups are really weird to me. I agree. I think the Suns win this series, and I hate to say it because I love Minnesota. They become like my little my Western Conference team. But yeah, I just think the matchups work out here for Phoenix too well.
No, so then we get to the Nuggets Lakers.
Yes, you know who I'm taking.
Yeah, I know who you're taking. I think this is going to go 7. I'm going to take Nuggets in 7. Here's what I'm worried about. Let's be honest, guys. For those of you that watch basketball, we're coming to the end of LeBron James' career by his choice.
Yes.
With today's league, he can still play. I mean, let's just be honest. But I think it's going to be a time where he's let's just hang it up. He's got other things that he wants to do. He's still making, $50-60 million a year. In my opinion, if they're going to keep playing that, and like now he's on the age limit, right? So he can not follow the play restrictions as far as back-to-backs. I don't know. I don't know what toll it's taken on his life, but this could be one of his last runs, right?
Mm-hmm.
We saw the team last night. The Lakers just looked to me like they wanted it more. They had more confidence. When you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis on the team, as long as Anthony Davis is I would say 75% of himself, that's a pretty powerful thing. And then to your point, D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, and those guys picking up the slack. I think this is going to be a very, very tough series. And I think it's just going to depend on LeBron and AD. Which one of these guys are going to want it more? Joker is Joker. He's going to score. Nobody's going to stop him. Jamal Murray looks absolutely awesome. Who's the third guy that they have that's really good?
For who?
The Sun. I'm sorry, the Nuggets.
So the Nuggets, they have Aaron Gordon. They have Michael Porter Jr.
Those two guys right there. I just feel like
Kentavious Caldwell-Pope's really good too.
I just think that the Nuggets just have a couple more pieces. Now, with that being said, I think it's going to go 7. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes either way, to be perfectly honest.
This is the biggest underdog that LeBron has ever been in his career in a series, betting wise. So, I don't know. Take that for what it is.
So, for this one though, I think we'll wait for next Wednesday.
I can just tell you right now, Mavericks over Thunder, in my opinion.
Yeah, we'll just wait for next Wednesday though, because we need to break that down as well.
And I think it'll be. So if I'm going to give you a look ahead real quick, and I'm just going to say this real quick. Go back up. I'm going to say this. I think the Suns move on over the Nuggets. The Mavericks move on. We're going to get Mavericks and Suns in a blockbuster, just full of all stars and superstars in the Western Conference Finals to go on. And I will take the Phoenix Suns to go to the NBA championship and get absolutely crushed by the Boston Celtics.
I think that the Oklahoma City could put. I want. This is why I want to wait, because I want to see how the Mavericks perform here against the Clippers.
Okay.
And I want to see if that cohesiveness goes over to the playoffs. The Thunder. I like to watch them in stages. Now, obviously, I'm going to do this out. I guess you have to complete this before it all starts, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess if I'm doing that, I'm going to shock the world here. I think the Thunder get it done. And in my opinion, if the
Nuggets,
if the Nuggets get past the Lakers, then I think it's the Thunder Nuggets here.
And then Nuggets and Celtics.
Actually, I'm sorry, that would be 6 games. Yeah, so I got the Nuggets there. So this one's obviously
Celtics 5.
Celtics in 5.
Gentlemen sweep.
Now it's getting interesting for Jeffrey. The Cleveland Cavaliers headed to Orlando Magic.
You know what's interesting about this is that you can fly to Cleveland on Saturday, go to the game on great seats, and fly back for cheaper than you can to wait for the game to be played here in Orlando. The tickets here in Orlando are astronomically high compared to what they are in Cleveland. So
yeah, I was I attempted to secure some tickets. But they didn't have any in the areas I like to sit available, obviously. But they weren't that bad. I think Lower Bowl was going for like 600.
Yeah. So you're going for.
But in context, those $600 tickets were also like $180, $200 in the regular season. So who gets it done here, Jeffrey? Do the Orlando Magic take the next step now that they've made the playoffs? Can they get past the Cleveland Cavaliers for the first round?
Orlando Magic win game 1 on Saturday. Cleveland will win game 2. Orlando Magic come back and win game 3 and 4 at home. Cleveland will win game 5. We're still doing best of 6 or best of 7. I mean,
7.
Yeah. Cleveland will. I'm sorry. Game 5 at home, and then Orlando closes them out in 6 back at home.
You kind of lagged out there for a second, but I thought it was a very dramatic pause. So I just let it go. I literally thought you were just like, I'm like, holy Magic shit, he's deep in thoughts.
Magic win game 1, Cavs win game 2, Magic win game 3 and 4, Cavs win game 5, Magic win in 6 at home. Celtics, Boston, or Celtics and Orlando. I'm
I'm
going
going
to
to give
say
Orlando 2 games.
I think we can win 3.
Well,
I think we
I'm
can.
giving you 2.
I think Celtics in 7 there, and then going to the bottom of the bracket. Yeah, unfortunately, I think without Giannis, this in the way that the
Is he
Bucks,
out?
he's officially out until later in the series.
Oh, wow.
And just the way that the Bucks have played and their defensive ineptitude so far this year against a team like the Pacers, who just can run and gun and get it up and down on you.
I just feel like the Milwaukee Bucks this year just have been in complete disarray, and
really
I'm
weird.
sorry, but Doc Rivers is not getting it done.
And then firing Adrian Griffin, like when you have such a good record already. I don't know. The whole thing was weird to me. Now the Knicks.
This is going to be interesting.
The 76ers, we think, right?
Yeah.
If Philly wins, and obviously this will be a highly contested game tonight. I think it'll probably be the best game that we watch of the play-ins, for the simple fact that nobody wants to go play Boston, right? Like, if you lose this game and you win, now you got to go play Boston. That's your reward. So yeah, you want to avoid Boston at all costs, and if you do this, you can avoid them basically until the conference championship.
And I think that's where they will be.
I agree. I'll take Philly against Boston is what I have, and then Boston winning this in probably 6 games, moving on against the Nuggets, and then the Celtics winning in 5 or 6 games here, 6 or 7, whatever. You'll probably drag it out. Wow.
I don't.
You know your wife watches this, right?
Yeah, I do. She doesn't think that they're going to get past the Heat.
What?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they were over at the house. The whole family, the in-law families were over at the house, and they were, doing their reverse psychology shit, right? We're like, they don't. Yeah. I'm like, I see what you guys are doing here. It's not working on me. I am the king of reverse psychology on sports teams. Go away.
But then what? Yeah. Why would my Magic not have a chance then to go on a run?
I think that. Well, here's what I think. So we're looking at the Boston Celtics and what they did last year. They looked good up until the finals, the Eastern Conference Finals, and then they faltered. I think they get past this step, but then when they get to the actual finals, they falter once again. And Justice, to your point, first, the 76ers are stopping your Heat, and then
the Boston Celtics are. I do want to answer Carito's question real quick. I don't think this is ever an issue. I think you're thinking about basketball in terms of the way that basketball was, which is that a point guard is a distributor, a shooting guard is a scorer, a 3-man is like a defender who can guard multiple people and who can knock down threes. 4-guy gets a bunch of rebounds and has a mid-range game, and 5-guy just stands under the paint. We don't play that game of basketball anymore. That game of basketball is outdated. So you saying that you're being put at shooting guard
level, though.
How old do you think this kid is?
I have no idea. I mean, are we talking high school ball? Are we talking grade school ball?
In my opinion, just because you're at shooting guard doesn't mean you can't be a distributor, right? There's plenty of options when you're playing a wing position for a beautiful skip pass or a backdoor cut to a teammate. Don't worry about scoring. Scoring should come naturally and in natural positions. If you're trying to force it and you're not that guy, that's a really bad situation. So let the game naturally come to you. Play basketball from the shooting guard position as a distributor, eyes up. If you get a wide open shot, knock it down. If not, try to get some teammates involved.
Absolutely. You can still be the distributor. I was the 3-point shooter.
But you were also a distributor.
I just started there, and when I drove and then dumped.
Yeah, and then you played passing lanes on defense. I'm not gonna strap you up and get in the open court and go dunk one, but I can get my hands active in passing lanes that they're supposed to be.
Strap me up, Daddy.
Okay, stop it. All right, last thing, and then we're done.
Strap me up. All right, so that's going to be our playoff brackets. We will put that out on our IG later. We'll put one for Jeffrey.
I am 5'8" to 5'9". This you don't have to This isn't a Tinder profile. You can. Give us,
This is what I'm looking for to.
Yeah.
I almost left the studio. This is what I'm looking for in a shooting guard. Yeah.
You had
So
beef with Buff, you said. Last thing we could wrap it
yeah, a
up.
couple things. MLB. We did see that the MLB accuser of Trevor Bauer has been indicted for fraud and extortion. So kudos
Power
to you,
outage.
lady. Power outage. Kudos to you. Trevor Bauer deserves a shot. He's pitching in Mexico. He pitched against the Dodgers, I believe. Shut him down. I've been tagging the Cubs. Cubs, you need rotation. Kyle Hendricks is faltering once again. He's giving up like 8 earned runs. Sign the man in Chicago. He's coming in on a veteran minimum. What do you have to lose?
Atlanta Braves. You just lost Spencer Strider for the year. He's done, probably for a year and a half. Go get this guy.
I sold his cards.
Go get this guy, please.
You know,
please. I'm sick of watching him do YouTube videos.
I don't know if this is just this year or if this is something, you know, prevalent. I feel like there's been more baseball injuries this year than I've ever seen in my life.
Verlander had a lot of poignant comments on it. It's kind of crazy.
I have like 6 or 7 people, and Buff, to your point, you know, what I was talking about, bone to pick with you. It's not necessarily about you, but you know, the league that we're in with my friend Marcus Buffing here is a point scoring league, right? Whereas, you know, my bigger league and most of the bigger leagues goes off averages. You know, there are for hits and stuff like that, but it's not necessarily a point scored. So like you literally have to try to field a full lineup every year. Well, when I'm looking at my lineup and I have so many people on the IR, okay, well, I could drop them and pick somebody else up, but who am I going to get that's going to replace Nathan Lowe? Who am I going to get that's going to replace Josh Young? You know, there's certain people on here that it's just like, I've never seen so many injuries in my life. I literally have not. I have Ozzy Albies out. I have Kristen Yelich out. Seiya Suzuki out. Josh Lowe out. Josh Young out. Friddle for the Reds out. Garrett Whitlock on day-to-day now. And these are the ones that I've kept, not counting the ones I've already dropped. And, you know, the fact that I was on auto draft because we drafted at fucking midnight, my ESPN didn't even draft me any starting pitching. Now,
plenty of starting pitching available with all these injuries now.
Well, you know that the master over here has already been wheeling and dealing, so of course. I mean, we're gonna get her done. But yeah, it's pretty rough out there in the baseball world.
So like to Buff's point too, on Facebook, which I appreciate you commenting on Facebook. Thank you so much. Excuse me. Verlander had a lot of comments about this as well too. Hitting is a culmination of a lot of things. The pitcher's clock, can you
expound on that a little bit?
I don't necessarily agree with that
because they're not getting an extra 10 to 15 seconds in between pitches.
Yeah, I don't think that really. I mean, and I listen. Who am I to question Justin Verlander, one of the best pitchers of all time, about what's
got some
best
off the wall takes
for arms. But for me, I always felt like working faster felt better. Instead of waiting, and then putting, you know, so much pressure on our arm.
I look at it this way. If you throw strikes and you throw to your positions and get contact, you can get literally out of your inning in 3 pitches and literally sit for another 10 to 15 minutes in between. I don't buy that. I don't buy that whatsoever. We throw less pitches than ever before. We have a more regimented warm-up, stretching. We have more medical care than we ever have, and it seems like we're double, triple the injuries. I just don't.
But I also feel like this is the reason that you have so many injuries. I don't think if this was 15 years ago, these guys would be getting Tommy John surgery. I think it would be, we're going to rest you for a little bit. We're going to see how the inflammation does on your elbow. We're going to go back. You're going to throw again. You know, if you're okay, you're okay. We're going to let it go. Instead, it's like, because these are such investments in players, it's like, okay, you felt a tweak in your elbow. Oh, you have a lower back spasm. Let's go ahead and get MRIs. Let's make sure we get everything done. And, you know, let's make sure we get surgery on that immediately and shut you down. So it's just,
well, when you're paying somebody $50-60 million or $400 million and it's all guaranteed in Major League Baseball, I mean, I have to agree. And, you know, this kind of all started with Steven Strasburg. You know, Steven Strasburg was pretty much the pioneer of this. If you want to talk about these injuries and stuff like that, the guy that could just never come back, lasted a couple good years, and then went through this as a precautionary and never really came back.
Strasburg a Hall of Famer?
No. I just don't think he had enough time.
World Series champion, World Series MVP. He did pitch 10 years. in the bigs.
Did he? He might have been in the bigs for 10 years.
It's just an interesting argument. Like we were
I don't
bouncing
think
guys
one
back and
chip.
forth.
I don't think one
Gary
chip
Wood,
gets
Mark
you.
Pryor. Like there are guys who have like flashed.
You said it right there. Is a Hall of Fame a flash or is a Hall of Fame sustained?
But with this, the other issue too is that he has the credentials as well because he does have a World Series and a World Series MVP.
So let me ask you this: does one World Series MVP make you a legend?
Does having a World Series and a World Series MVP help your criteria though enough?
Well, of course it helps, but I don't think that just automatically gets you in.
No, of course not. Of course not. It was funny because I was asking. I asked Ian last night. We were out, and I was like, "What do you?" I heard this question on Spit and Chicklets, so we can finish with this if you want. What do you think is more
on what?
On Spit and Chicklets, the podcast on Barstool hockey podcast on Barstool. Like, what do you think is more impressive, 100 goals or 70 assists? Or I'm sorry, 70 goals or 100 assists in a season? And he immediately goes, "It's definitely 70 goals." And I go, "Can you name the people who have scored 70 goals in a season?" And we went through a few, and he kind of fell off. But there's 2 or 3 that have scored that many goals in a season who literally aren't in the Hall of Fame, right? There's been 4 guys who have got 100 assists in a season. It's like Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, Bobby Orr, and Bedard, right? Who just did it? Not Bedard. Who just did it? Who just got 100 assists? Jeremy. Was it McDavid?
Now he could have, yeah.
Yeah, Connor McDavid. Sorry, Connor McDavid. I got my Connors mixed up. But yeah, it's Connor McDavid, Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, and then Bobby Orr.
Connor McDavid became the first player since Wayne Gretzky to achieve the feat. Only Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, and Bobby Orr have tallied 100 assists in the season.
Yeah. So
well, Connor McDavid is definitely on the path of.
But that's crazy to think that you're 70 goals is awesome. But Teemu Solani and somebody McGillney both did it in the same season in like 95, 96 or something like that. So yes, it is a tough feat, right? But I just think the 100 assists to me is a little bit more impressive from a hockey standpoint.
Hockey is just an impressive game all the way around.
It's incredible. And this is the best time to watch hockey. If you don't watch hockey, it's absolutely
hockey. There is absolutely nothing like hockey playoffs.
No,
you can say whatever you want about NFL playoffs. You can say whatever you want about NBA playoffs. You can say anything. To me, hockey playoffs is the best playoffs.
Yep.
There's just and actually getting to witness it in person is amplified at least 10 times. It's just such an amazing atmosphere. And if you ever get the privilege to go to a Stanley Cup final, wow. It's just it's one of those things you walk in, there's just
as you did, and you were able to go watch your team,
I did. I watched the Blackhawks take down the Tampa Bay Lightning in 2015.
Good friend Mark Fitzpatrick. It was a great time.
Ooh, what just happened there? Absolutely. I don't know what just happened. All right. Did you want, I know it's 12:03. Did you want to touch on your hometown country?
We can do it briefly if you want.
Oh, it's up to you. So Jeffrey had some amazing information that came out of Brazil. We talked a little bit this morning about there's a rumor out there that the Eagles, who are the Eagles playing again over in Brazil?
The Packers, two teams that literally wear green.
And they might not be able to wear green. And it was more the Phillies, because I think that the Packers are doing the white with the green trim, but the Philly green was the one that was they said, listen, you're not wearing green in the stadium.
It would be any green. There was
there was no mention of the Packers green, though. It was only the Eagles.
So the reason for this is that they're playing in Corinthians Stadium in Sao Paulo. Corinthians, bitter rival in the Brazilian league, is not Flamengo, who's our team, who's one of the best in the entire league, who has the most championships, but it's a team called Palmeiras, and they wear green. And there's been a lot of back and forth between. I can see that I'm lagging, so that's a lot of fun as well. Okay, there's been a lot of back and forth to the point where nobody can wear green. There was a player who wore They thought it was green shoes a couple years ago and was literally like lambasted for it. And he says they were turquoise, but all the fans say that they were green. It's unacceptable. It's the whole thing. I don't know if this will actually come to fruition. There's a lot of things going on in Brazil right now that are way more problems than that. They're almost becoming a communist country in terms of not being able to have freedom of speech. They're trying to get rid of Twitter. They're trying to, sue Elon Musk for $20,000 a day, and he's going back at their government on Twitter. There's a lot going on, and it
sounds like a good time to reward them.
Yeah,
with grow the game.
Very interesting that the NFL has decided to, like, week 1 we're gonna play in Sao Paulo in Corinthians Stadium. I don't understand it. I don't understand it being in Sao Paulo. However, listen, more important people made those decisions than I did, and good luck to them. If you're gonna travel for this game, don't. I wouldn't go. I wouldn't go to Sao Paulo. But if you do, good luck. Just be safe. Mind your P's and Q's. No cell phones. No watches. No wallets. Bring enough cash that you need. If you need your ID, okay. Don't bring your passport anywhere. Things are not great in Brazil right now.
Sounds like a fun time.
Yep.
I'll tell you one thing. One little travel that we are targeting is I don't know if I have my wife talked into it tonight. So if not, it might be a boys trip. But Japan 2025. The Cubs.
So
up.
I'm going. I think what we're doing is we're going end of August, beginning of September, which is going to be interesting for fantasy football draft season. But we are flying to Copenhagen for a couple days, going to Paris, hitting Champagne for a day or two, going to London for a couple days, and then heading back home. So we're supposed to go to Brazil in October.
That's also going to be very interesting when it comes to the Circa de Millions picks as well.
Yes.
Which you also need to plan a time for that. So anyway, that's going to do it today on the Uninformed Fan. The boys are up next, correct, Jeffrey?
Yes, we'll be back in about 10 minutes.
Be back in about 10 minutes. A little bit of breakdown of the Masters. I understand that they didn't necessarily hit all of their picks on this one, so I did not bet their picks this time. I am on their Cam Davis. I did throw a little bit at that one because that just juicy
little
number
preview for you if you're looking for a nice little number right there.
Be really curious to see what that. Until then, everybody, I hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great week. Enjoy the NBA playoffs. Enjoy the NHL playoffs.
Magic.
Congrats to Caitlin Clark on her #1 overall draft pick. And
Caps.
all of that fun stuff. What's that?
I said go Caps. Since we're we don't have the Blackhawks in there, we'll root for the Capitals.
Yeah, I don't know. Does Ian really deserve our support?
Give Obi one, man.
Would he root for us?
Absolutely not.
Until then, if you're out on the road, please stay out of the left-hand lane for the love of God. And everybody, we'll see you back here on Wednesday. Gap Wedge Wednesday up next. Be sure to check it out.